Now it's just a matter of you telling me which ones you weren't sure about. All right. So all of the solutions were posted. So someone now can ask me any question on any of the problems. Anybody? Everybody knew how to do it? Go, Cooper. Let's look at 51 for a quick second. You good with that? All right. And again, that's why there's so many problems for the practice. All right. So many problems for practice. Yes, sir.
Could you do 19?
Let's look at 19 for a quick second. Let's see how he did. What do you mean? Which one do I do first?
I did the exponents.
Yeah, because remember PEMDAS, right? Parentheses, exponents before the multiplication.
Oh.
All right. Anybody else? Yes. Let's look at 13, see what that is. Five divided by 5 today is what? Right? Yes. Say it. Making sense?
Yeah.
Somebody else? Nobody? Worksheet's good? All right, that's really good, actually. All right, so I'm going to collect what you have. I'm going to pause the video just for a quick second. Let's see. From yesterday, all right, we said when you multiply numbers, you just multiply the numbers together. When you multiply variables, you add the exponents, right? Then the other rule was power to a power, you what? All right, so because you are brilliant, you should be able to tell me when I am dividing numbers, I do what? I divide the numbers. Thank you. When I'm dividing variables, I do what? Subtract the exponents. Now, I need to show you one quick little thing though. All right. And that is exactly correct. Those of you guys who are paying attention. All right. But I want you to explain this to me. If I say x to the fourth divided by x, that would equal what? X to the third. Now, before you say something silly, think about it. If I say, what is x squared over x to the fifth, what would that be? Well, that is true, but we don't write with negative exponents. All right. So essentially, what I want you to understand is this. There are two x's on top and there are 5 x's on the bottom. So when you divide these things out, this cancels, this cancels. So you're left with 1 over x cubed. So what we do is we say we just subtract, but because there are more in the denominator than in the numerator, that you would do 5 minus 2 and put 3 in the denominator. So it's 1 over x cubed. All right. Now, which brings me back to, he said something smart where it was just x to the negative 3. From your pre-algebra days, you should have learned about a little bit about negative exponents. All right. So x to the negative 3, everyone should know is the same as 1 over x cubed. Now, let me explain to you, because I'm not sure how you remember this from last year, but let me explain to you how they figured that out. All right. So if I said to you 2 to the 4th power, everybody's confident they could say that's just what? 16. All right. So then if I said 2 to the 3rd power, that would be what? 8. Then if I said 2 to the second power, that would be what? 4. Now remember, think before you speak. All right. Math is about patterns. All right. And once you understand the patterns, the problems are much easier. So from 16 to 8, what did I do? And then I did what again? So if I say 2 to the first power, that would obviously then be what? 2. All right. Now, if I said 2 to the 0, think again before you speak. 2 to the 0 is what? 1. All right. Because the same pattern applies. You're just dividing by 2, dividing by 2. So now what? I say 2 to the negative 1. That is 1/2 because you followed a pattern. The pattern was you're just dividing by 2. All right. So then 2 to the negative 2 would be 1/4. So then they said, wow, that's pretty cool because 4 is 2 squared. So that's how they developed the rule. Anything that has a negative exponent, I just move. If it's on the top, I put it on the what? The bottom. Now, what if I have 1 over 2 to the negative 2? All right, because it has a negative exponent, I'm telling you it moves. So it's on the bottom, you're going to move it to the what? You're going to move it to the top. So 1 over 2 to the negative 2 is the same as 2 squared. All right. Now, again, I'm trying to show you how, even when you forget the rules, because there are a lot of rules, all right, you should be able to develop the rules yourself. All right. And that's what I'm trying to show you with the negative exponents. All right. The rules sometimes don't seem logical, but they are logical if you put them in a pattern. All right. And that's what should help you. All right. So you have 3 major rules. You have multiplying variables, add exponents. You have dividing variables, which means you subtract the exponents. And then you have power to power, which is multiply the exponents. So those are the 3 main rules you have to look out for. All right. In this particular section. So now we'll go to question number 2. We'll start over here at the top. So if I said m to the 6th divided by m to the 4th, you would tell me what? M squared. Anybody have any problems with that? Anybody? All right. Andrew, you're up. What's a squared divided by a? A to the first. I'm okay with that. All right. Do you have to write to the first power though? No, you can just say it's a. All right, we'll start in the back. Number 6. Now, think about this. You're just reducing the fraction just like it's a normal fraction. So what does that reduce to? You're exactly correct. And then so it would be what? What? What variable are we using? There you go, kiddo. That's the right answer. All right, that's the correct answer. I know it's not that hard. All right, anybody have any questions? All right, continue up. Now, my recommendation is to simplify inside the parentheses first. All right. So what does that simplify to? You're right. 2ab. Yes. So now tell me what that answer is. No. 2 to the 3rd power is what? 8. 8 what? That's exactly correct. That's not that hard now. All right, it takes practice, taking practice. All right, next. All right, you got a tricky one. All right, so again, everybody simplify first. Tell me. 2R, perfect. And now what's 2 to the 4th?
8R.
No. You're not multiplying 2 times 4. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right?
16.
There you go. Now you're in business. 16R to the 4th. All right, 16R to the 4th. Next one.
It is 4 to the 4th and to the 4th and
And that's it. All right. Now, again, remember the secret is try to do it yourself. Try to do it yourself and see if you're right. All right, next. Now you have a negative exponent, correct?
Mhm.
So that needs to move. Where does it need to move? That's correct. So it's m times m to the 4th. M to the 5th power. That is correct. Now notice it's a negative exponent. All you do is move it. If it's at the top, move it to the bottom. If it's the bottom, move it to the top. All right. What do we have here? I know, but I want you to tell me. I moved this up here first, right? Because again, he's correct, but I still want to show everybody that that's b to the 5th over b to the 4th, which is in fact just b. That's really good. All right, notice they were both negative, so we moved both of them. Anybody have any questions? No questions? All right, what?
Just make sure, like, if you move them, like, they switch from negative to positive.
Exactly what I did, right? All right, here we go. 18.
It would be A to the 4th
Good.
and then B to the 6th.
And then
Negative.
nope.
A negative 2.
A B squared. Now watch. Do you agree this whole thing is to the -2? So I had to move that whole thing up to the top. You with me? So now the negative became a what?
Positive.
There you go, sir. So now I have A4B to the 6th times what?
A to the 2nd.
Yep,
Squared and B squared.
that is exactly correct. So now what's the final answer?
A2 and B4.
A what? You're multiplying. You're multiplying now, not dividing. So when you multiply, what do you do? Yes, and then
B to the 8.
there you go. Lots of little mistakes along the way. All right, please clear up the mistakes right now. Get it wrong now.
I'm kind of confused what you get at the beginning. At the beginning of that problem.
I don't know what you mean.
Like, what?
Shh.
I don't know how you got the first part, like the top part, A, B.
Power to a power, you multiply.
But when did you bring it like up to -2?
When I noticed the denominator was -2. If it has a negative exponent, I move it,
Oh,
right? This whole quantity is to the -2. Do you agree?
yeah,
So I just moved it up to the top.
yeah,
And that changed it from negative to a what?
positive.
That's it.
Okay.
All right, let's try the next one. Who's up? All right. What? Catherine, I think. Good. Yes. You're awesome. Perfect. Over. B to the what? B to the what? What do you do? Power to power. So what is it? Yes. You with me on that? Anybody have any questions with that so far? That's perfect. Now I have a negative exponent. So what do I have to do to that? Shh. No one's asking anybody. Put it to the bottom, right? So it's going to be 36b squared over a squared b to the 8th, right? Now what do I have to do? Shh, nothing. Go, finish it off. Catherine? Well, we're dividing. So division is what? Subtraction. Where does b to the 6th go, on the top or the bottom? On the what? No. And I'll show you why. All right, please watch. B times B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 8 on the bottom. So I crossed them out. There's 6 left. Where? You understand what I'm saying, right? So if there's more on the bottom, you leave them at the bottom. If there's more on the top, you leave it at the top. Does that make sense? All right, you got the hard one. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so here we go. Now, tell me about the bottom right off the bat.
M to the negative 2 and T to the third, negative 3.
I'm happy with you on that. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and put M to the negative 3, T to the negative 5. And what he did is he just went ahead and multiplied. So that's M to the negative 2, T to the negative 3. So what do I have to do with all of them now? Shh. Flip them all. Exactly. So now when you flip them, you tell me what it's going to be.
Would it be M to the 2nd, T to the 3rd, and on the bottom, M to the 3rd, T to the 5th.
That's exactly correct. Exactly. All right. So now one more step.
Subtract.
That's right.
So it would be on the bottom, it would be M to the 1st, T to the 2nd.
And what would the top be?
On the top, would it just be M?
No, because they all went away.
Uh,
So it's like this. What's 2/4 reduced to? So what's on the top? You with me? Because when you divide and things are the same, it becomes a 1. You with me on that? So that was perfect, except this one little thing right here. If everything goes away, there's a 1. All right, very nice. Very good. All right, next, you got a tricky one too. Now, here's a problem. So -2 to the -3 is a problem. You with me? So we can't do -2 to the -3, right? Because it has a negative exponent and a negative. So what I'm telling you is I want you to write it as -2 to the -3, like this. All right. Now, but I don't really like that way. All right. I'm going to show you a better way. All right. So, and this is kind of where you and me got a little bit off at first, because I wouldn't have done it like you did, but because it was a simple one, it didn't matter. But when there's a number, it causes a problem. So I want everybody to take a look at what my recommendation is. Does everybody agree this whole thing is to the -3? So that means that whole thing has to do what? It moves to the bottom. And now you don't have to worry about the bunch of negatives. All right. So that whole thing moved. So 1 is left at the top. I'm going to put 4m -6 n4 parentheses -2mn squared cubed. That's what I want you to think about. That makes sense? Now what we're going to do is we're now going to do this one. All right, so now you should be able to see that's a little bit easier. So it's 1 over 4m. Now, immediately, what would I do with that m to the -6? Right, so that becomes what? Right? And then what does this simplify to? And then,
M to the third and
right, now again, I'm telling you, I know that's kind of hard. All right, so if you're not trying it yourself and you're just writing down what I'm putting, it's not going to make sense. You got to make the mistakes. And if you need to ask me a question now, you can. Anybody have any questions with that step? Everybody's good? What?
Did you just move the M6 to the top because it was negative?
Yes, sir, that is correct. If they have a negative exponent, the rule is you move it. It's on the bottom, move it to the top. If it's on the top, move it to the what? The 4 doesn't have a negative exponent. What does the 4 have? Well, it does have an exponent. What is it? 1. You with me? So it's not negative. All right, if it was in parentheses, notice this is in parentheses, so all of these have a negative exponent, right? Okay, that was important. All right, go.
So,
We're not done yet.
um,
We're not done. All right, but I'm just double checking that. All right, now what's next? And where does negative 32 go? Right? Now, you guys, everybody knows I don't really like to put negatives on the bottom. So traditionally we just put it out in the front, right? So there's a 32 here. N to the 10th and M to the 3rd on the top. That is the correct answer. All right, now come on. That's the hard one. What you need help on?
so you don't move the like negative number of the other side?
I don't know what that means. I don't move the negative number to the other side.
Yeah,
What are you
so-
referring to?
So for like negative 8M to the 3rd, you wouldn't move the negative 8?
Does it have a negative exponent?
No.
There's a difference. I'm glad you asked me,
Oh, okay.
right? The number itself is negative, not the exponent.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
The number can be negative. That doesn't move it. What moves it? The exponent has to be negative. All right, that was pretty hard. All right. Walt, tell me 26.
26. I got 1.
That's a good mistake. Now listen. There's how many 9s on top? No, 12. How many on the bottom? So how many are left?
4.
Right. So you did a common mistake, right? Because this is not really a number. I hope you're listening. These are not numbers. These are exponentials, right? Does everybody understand that, right? So there's the exponent tells you how many there are, right? So there would be 12 9s and 8 9s. You cancel 8 of them out, you're left with 4. Do you agree with that? So 9 to the 4th is perfectly acceptable answer. All right, when the number gets too big, we don't have to write it out. You can leave it as 9 to the 4th. You have a calculator. If you want to do 9 to the 4th, you can, but it's not necessary. All right, so that's a great question right there. Most people say 1, all right, because they accidentally divide the what? 9 by 9. You don't divide those if they have exponents. All right, you leave them the same. Now, if I have this, guys, if I have 4 to the 3rd and 5 to the 1st, can I subtract those exponents? No, because they're different what? They're different numbers, right? If this now I change to a 4, now can I subtract them? Yes. All right, so you have to make sure they have to be the same. All right, let's see if you learned something. Go.
well, the thing says that
You're right.
1/4 t to or to t to the t cubed.
T to what power? You're right. T to the 2nd. 2nd is squared. 3 is cubed. That makes sense? The R's do what to each other? They do cancel out. Everybody okay with that? All right, next.
I got 16, so minus 9 by 3, so 6.
No. That's what I was saying earlier. Listen to what I said. That's why I said it was kind of funny. Everybody mixed it up. I said, if you're dividing numbers, what do you do to the numbers? Divide them. If you are dividing exponents, you do what? Yes, right? So these are numbers. So what do I do?
It would be just right.
That's right. 3 what?
3D.
Yes, sir. 3D. All right. Anybody have any questions yet? All right, here we go. Tanner.
I got x to the second.
Yes, sir. Next. M to the 4th. Easy. Good. Next.
So. 32, do you divide that?
Yes.
Okay. So is that, -4?
Good.
So then, x squared,
Good.
and then, y to the first power,
Yep.
or just y, and then z to the third power.
All right, now we got this. All right, nice. Next.
Would it be like 1/16?
Well, you just did 4 times 4, right? That's not what we're doing. We're doing 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. But I first want you to write it as 1/4 to the what?
To the 4th?
Right. And 4 to the 4th is 256. But I don't care if you don't know that. You could leave it as this,
Oh,
right? You with me? All right. All right, Sebastian, tell me.
Okay, so. You have to multiply that by -2.
I just want the answer.
-10/6.
Tell me why.
Because you have to multiply, because when you multiply both by negative. then you-
Listen to me. This is an exponent. So I want you to think of this as 5 to the -2 over 3 to the -2.
Oh, and it's- Then you just swap them
Mhm.
around.
So what is that?
So it's gonna be 3 -2 over 5 -2.
No. When you swap them,
5 plus 3.
yes, you're good. Now tell me what that answer is.
So then you have 9/25.
There you go. That's the answer. 9/25. Everybody okay with that? That seems to be a tricky one. All right, for most people. Anybody have any issues? All right, help me out with 42.
Is it h or 3?
No,
Don't you swap one?
swap what?
H -6 go to the top,
Yes,
and then h to the third goes to the bottom.
why?
Oh, would it be h9?
Yes, sir. You see why, right?
Yeah, because it was positive.
Yeah, you don't move it if it's positive. You only move the ones that are negative. So again, tell me the final answer.
H to 9.
H to the 9th. Perfect. All right, Andrew.
There's one I got 3, 1 over, like this is all over 1.
So this goes where?
On the bottom,
Right. This goes where?
on the bottom,
And this goes where?
on the bottom, or on the top.
That's it. That's how easy. That's all there is to it. That's the rule. It's a negative, move it. All right. Oh, you got an easy one. Don't be fooled. Nope, don't be fooled. Anything to the 0 power is 1. I have lots of kids who waste their time trying to figure this out. You with me now, right? The whole quantity is to the 0. So the whole thing is 1.
You want time.
Yeah, you don't, there's nothing to do. It's a trick question. Okay. All right, 48. Here we go. Good. You're awesome, girl. Right. Do I need the fraction bar anymore? Now, look, everybody, that's good mental math right there. All right. Anybody have any issues? Anybody have any issues with that? All right, next.
Negative 8x to the 5th, y to the 2nd.
So where would it go? Yeah, it makes sense, right? Over Z, right? So a lot of kids make that mistake. They put the -1, but I want you to think about there's 5 on the top and 6 on the bottom. So there's 1 left on the bottom. Easy. All right, 52. Let's do it. What do we got? I know you're a little slow today. That's okay.
Will be negative 6t to the 2nd,
Good job.
and then u to the 4th,
Good job.
and then x to the -9, so the on the bottom.
Yes, as X to the what?
9.
Yes, perfect. Come on. Make sure you're doing it. All right. Don't follow the answer. Write what you think first and see if you're getting that.
So would we start off by putting the top on the bottom?
Yes, that's right. Very smart. So this and this go where?
On the bottom
Good. And then this all goes where?
to the top.
Yes. So I'm just reading it like m to the 4th n cubed.
And to make n squared to 4n n squared.
Yes, there you go. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Everybody good? All right, here we go. 56, David.
So we move the top to the bottom.
Yes, that's exactly what I would want you to say. So now what? Wait a minute now. This we're going to leave alone, right? And now we're going to do the exponent. So what is this to this?
8 to the
A to the negative what? Yes, it's 6 because you're multiplying, right?
Yeah.
All right. And then B to the what?
30.
Right. So now I have to move only what? Shh. Right. You see what I'm saying, right? So now I have 1 over. Now what do I do with the 8 and the 5? What operation is that?
Almost
Right? So that'd be a what?
48.
40. A squared, and then how many B's? Yes, sir. Now we can simplify that to what?
1 to the 4th. Over 40.
B to the what?
7.
Right? Everybody's okay. That's another tricky one. All right, that was another tricky one. All right, here we go. Now, listen to me right here. Do you see how this is to the -1, right? So what does that mean to do to everything? Flip it, right? So all we're going to do is we're just going to put C to the 5th, D, H to the -4, 7, C, -3, D, 3. Notice I didn't do anything to the negatives. Right, it's flipped it. Okay. Now I have to flip it again some, right? So what do I have? Shh,
So C to the fifth,
right?
um,
Now let me do this for you. I'm gonna erase this just for a second. It's not wrong. But what I want you to do is I want you to try to see there are these right here, right? So they have to move where?
to the top,
Which gives me how many on the top?
8,
There you go. See what I'm saying, right? So C to the 8th. Now I'm looking at the D's.
D to the fourth, D to the fourth,
How many are on the top?
1,
How many on the bottom?
3.
So if I have 1D and 3 Ds, that leaves me with,
D to the second.
right, D to the 2nd on the bottom. That's correct. And then what about this guy?
Did you just flip it
So where does it go?
on the top?
It's already on the top.
Oh, on the bottom,
Do you agree with that or not?
Yeah.
So it goes where?
on the bottom.
On the bottom. And then don't forget the 7. Right? Yeah, it's tricky, tricky, tricky. All right, let's knock out 60. Uh-oh, you got an ugly one too. So all of it's to the -3, so we're just gonna do what? Flip everything, flip everything. All right, so we're gonna rewrite it as 3x to the -4, y cubed z, and then 4x to the 4th, y, z to the 5th, and then bless you to the 3rd power. Do you agree with that? Okay. So now I kind of like to simplify first. So if I simplify inside, can I do anything with the 4/3? So we leave it 4/3. Now, what about x4 and x -4? What is that? I don't think so, because one's negative, right? Yes, there you go. X to the 8th on the top. And then what? Yes, ma'am. Good job. And then you're awesome. Hold up, hold up. Z to the 4th right there. Shh. Just be quiet. All right, now you just cube everything, right? What's 4 cubed? 64. And now x to the 8th cubed, what's that? 24. Z to the what? Over 3 cubed. Good. And that's the answer. All right, very nice work, guys. All right, now you just got to go do the odds. All right, and I'll post the solutions. Please practice. Please practice.